This is an 1890's Studebaker Hearse. It was used for women and young people because it's painted gray. The men had a bigger black one. Infants had a small white one. The men's hearse was pulled by 4 black horses. This one was pulled by 2 gray ones, and the infants had a small white pony. We know it's a Studebaker hearse, although it has no marking on it, because when I worked here as a guide 50 years ago, I told people it was simply a hearse, and a man in the crowd said, "It's a Studebaker," and I said, "How do you know that?" "Because of the way the carriage bolts fit the axle to the springs." And I asked him how he knew that, and he said, "Because I am the historian for the Studebaker Motor Company, and I travel around the country looking for Studebaker wagons. So you have a Studebaker hearse." It was last used in 1933 in December, when the country repealed Prohibition. The boys brought it down from the second floor where it was stored in the livery stable and put a packing crate in it, and in the packing crate they put milk and coffee and water and tea and root beer and ginger ale and all the stuff that they had to drink during Prohibition, and they buried Prohibition in a railroad yard. Here's the inside. How much detail went even into the ceiling that nobody would see, really.
Now that's a pretty small coffin. Would you say that that would have been a child's coffin or a woman's?
It's about 5 feet. People weren't as tall as they are now, so that could have been for a young man. Women's coffins were typically gray. They weren't dark.
So black was basically always reserved for men. Okay.
There in big cities like New York and London and San Francisco, they had funeral outfitters that within hours of a death, if you called on them, they would come to your house, and they would, within a couple of hours after that, have a black mourning dress made for the widow and black armbands for the men, black wreaths for the door. They'd have black coverings for the mirrors and the pictures. They'd print up your stationery that had a black border around it, and after a certain period of time the border would get smaller and smaller and smaller until finally after about a year it would go away. It was a very ritualized event.
Amazing.